Lisa Sanchez here from the Buzz Adams Morning Show, and I am talking to Amy Lee from Evanescence. How are you doing today?
Hey, good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Now, I know you are probably stuck in quarantine still, and I know that this is definitely going to be a different record because of that, just because of the times we're living in. Now, the band, you're kind of releasing songs almost in real time as they're being completed. So my question for you is, do you think we've come to a point where releasing an entire album really isn't necessary? Instead of fans having to wait like a year or two to hear all the songs as one big lump, could a band start releasing batches every few months? Or do you think it's still important for fans to hear your record from beginning to end in its entirety?
I feel like it's a choice. It's just a stylistic choice. And for us being a rock band and, you know, not just that, but the way that we've always made our albums kind of an epic journey, you know, with moments in between and different parts. Making an album is still really important to us, so
Right.
we still want it to end up at that place. But we definitely feel a new sense of freedom about how music can be released, and that we don't have to wait for the whole thing to be finished to release it. Because, I mean, everybody, myself included, listens to music in a different way, and I can enjoy a full album, but I also often enjoy just listening to a song. And this kind of, especially since this year sucks so hard, like, to keep having something that we can experience together with the fans and connect to people and just get our music out there, it just feels really good to do. So it's kind of keeping me alive at this moment. I'm enjoying it. It's been good for me.
Yeah, and I know that, you know, obviously you are recording the album and the music during the pandemic, and your band, you were all together with your producer for about a month, quarantining and recording. So how did that work, and were you recording every single day and writing? Were there, like, breaks you were able to take, or even some group activities or hobbies that you all got into to kind of break up the mundane?
Actually, yes, a little bit. We have literally just had to go through this whole thing without long-term plans.
Right.
Like, here's what we can do in this moment. Here's how we can get the next part. You know, here's how we can get the next step done. And when we finally found a way to get together, you know, with tour buses and, you know, COVID tests and just staying together for a big chunk of time to do actually the second batch of songs, because we did the first batch in February when we all could be together.
Yeah.
But between, you know, getting together for a while to record some band stuff, getting pieces remotely from Jen, who's in Germany, and we actually can't be together for this year.
Yeah.
And also, you know, just the fact that I'm still writing, because it's not like we can just keep getting together whenever we want. Like, whipping up tour buses and getting everybody together is kind of like a one-shot deal. We can't do that 5 times. It's really expensive when you don't have shows to pay for the bus.
Exactly, yeah.
So it's kind of like, okay, this is what we can do. We're going to get together in this time. We're going to write some stuff. We're going to record some stuff. And then you guys go away, and I'm going to, like, work in the aftermath for a while until the next part. And we've kind of gotten to a second, or third, fourth, whatever, fifth part now. Because Troy, who's from Atlanta, was able to, you know, drive himself back up there, got another test, you know, got his negative result, came here, and he's doing some guitar overdubs on the songs that I've already recorded vocals to. So we're not exactly quarantined anymore. We're taking, like, you know, the measures that we need to take to make it completely safe for ourselves and our families and the people that, you know, we come in contact with. So it's been different, and a lot of the difference as far as writing and stuff is just that it can't be really on the schedule that we decide. We sort of have to do what we can and work with that. And honestly, that has given me, and I know all of us, like, kind of a new gratitude.
Right.
When we can get together and we can make the music. It's just like, oh, thank God. Not only human contact, but, like, I'm back in my element. Like, we can get together and be good at something, like control something, you know, make music and feel the release that gives when you're able to make a song. So it's been hard, but it's also been really life-giving too.
That's awesome. All right. So I know growing up, for me personally, you were just a huge role model for me, especially because I loved your voice, but you didn't really have that powerful operatic sound. Like, I loved growing up, like Sarah Brightman, Tori Amos, artists like that. And then here comes you with the rock amazingness around it. My question for you is, I always wondered, who were your influences growing up? Because I know I looked at you and I was like, that's the kind of singers that I want to hear, but I don't really remember too many immediately before you. So who did you have growing up?
That's cool. Thank you. It would probably surprise you because I loved Tori Amos. That was a huge influence for sure.
Yeah.
And I loved Nirvana. I loved a lot of things that I don't exactly sound like. And for me, it was kind of like taking inspiration from everything from classical music to Soundgarden to Bjork. Bjork was, she has been like the biggest artistic musical inspiration in my life, honestly, as a singer, but also like in her music making. It's funny. I was just like digging back into some old stuff last night. I was listening to Homogenic, which was a really big album for me when I was like a teenager,
right?
And being inspired by all this music in that beautiful '90s alternative realm. And I heard a song that I hadn't heard in forever, and I had loved it so much, called Pluto. And I remembered, like, this to me was so metal. Like, it's coming from a different place because it's an electronic artist, but it is absolutely, like, wild and heavy and dissonant. And there's so many different things that music can be if you just sort of shift your mind and open your mind to, like, instrumentation and combination. So I found inspiration from a lot of weird and interesting and unique things.
Awesome. Well, I know you weren't just a role model for me. I know Taylor Momsen, Lizzie Hale, they've both praised you as someone that they looked up to. Does it make you almost have like a sense of pressure to continue living up to that role, or are you just kind of proud of it?
I don't know if I know my role. All we can really do is focus on, the future, doing the best that we can at what we do. I love making music, and it's been something that's been really fulfilling in my life. And I never could have expected how it would go, or that I would be here now or any of this. And I am eternally grateful for what it's given to me, just in that it's like my diary. It's like a place where I can really pour all of my thoughts and feelings, and somehow it feels safe to say anything and everything that I can't always say in real life in the music. And that has become something that I have gotten to see in other people, speaking to them on a level that they maybe can't talk about it either, or don't have an outlet for it. And we've made connections with people all over the world, in a way that I wasn't trying to do that. It's something that happened through me trying to heal my own wounds. And then we found this just world of other people that are just like us. And that's just been an amazing journey that I've gotten to take with this band.
And this year we've seen Amy go from not only a powerful rock singer to just a powerful and passionate voice for the things that you believe in. Now, before you decided to start using your voice, as a platform for good, were you afraid of losing fans? Because we saw this especially like in the Taylor Swift documentary, where she had to fight against the record label and people in her industry telling her, don't say these things, don't stand up. Did you feel that pressure as well?
Man, well, first of all, we have an incredible team with us now, and my manager is so supportive about things like that. The art has to come first. And that's just a given in everything that we've been doing, about what being true to ourselves. The album's called The Bitter Truth for a reason. It's not about showing your prettiest side. It's about showing your realest inside, and being more your true self on the outside at any cost. And I feel like there's a way that you can have a strong opinion and still be respectful to your fellow humans, that don't necessarily agree with you. We all, I don't know about you, but we all have different family members and friends that don't believe exactly like we do and aren't on the same, political path or whatever in this moment when things are so controversial and crazy. But we can still love each other, and we can still respect each other, and we can certainly still listen to each other. And that's how it's all got to start. I feel like that's an important line, and use my voice is, if we can't talk about it, we'll just keep drowning in it. I think that this is a year and a moment for awakening and conversation, and I want to be a part of that. I got to a point in the studio, we were working on the song, And I just felt convicted by my own words that we needed to, that being silent right now is a statement in itself and not one that I want to make. So we can do that. We can be true to ourselves and still, leave room for other people's beliefs as well, But I do think it's important right now to stand up for what you believe in, and also to, find your own information, open your eyes and ears,
Yeah. Well, when you're talking about Use My Voice, and this is such a powerful anthem, and you've said it was initially inspired by the incredibly brave and strong woman, Chanel Miller, after hearing her victim impact statement. The song has now molded into kind of a rallying cry for everyone. First of all, I want to ask, have you heard from her? Because I know you've been very outspoken saying that she inspired the song in the beginning. Have you heard anything from her from that?
I actually haven't. I'm not on my social media that often actually right now because we're working really hard.
Yeah, understandable.
But every once in a while I'm like, oh yeah, I wonder if I don't know what her life is like, so I'm not, I haven't reached out or anything. No, I haven't heard that. That would be cool. But I think the point is that her story was so powerful and inspiring. I know that it inspired many people because as much as I've talked about her impact statement and what it did for me, so many people that I've said that to have responded with similar feelings about that.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was super interesting just because you're using Use My Voice. It came from an inspiration from Chanel. And then now you've partnered with Headcount to get more people to register to vote. So, Mike, how did you begin working with them, and how has the song become their anthem for the 2020 election? So how did that marriage come about?
Well, that topic, talking about right now what's going on, the state of our government and what's happening, that is very much like the theme for the song as well, and where it ended up going after the initial writing. So as I was talking about, feeling convicted by my own words, like, what can I actively do that would help? Like, how can we help? We can't just complain about a problem. Like, we want things to happen. We want things to change. Then what can I do to, spread that love and hope and positivity and thought for people to understand how important it is to use their voice right now? There are a lot of people whose voices are being unheard all over the world and in America. And I think we just got the idea that it would be the perfect moment to think about voting and people coming together in that way. And Headcount is a nonpartisan organization that's worked in the music industry for a long time. They usually go to concerts. You probably see them around.
Yeah, I have.
For people to sign up to vote.
Yeah.
And so they're really cool. What I love about their site and their whole mission is all just about getting people to vote, especially young people. And what they do is they just make it easier. Like, you go to the website and all the information that you kind of have to dig around for to get all the specifics, like where you're going to vote, when you're going to vote, like where your polling place is. There's different rules in every state about getting your info submitted at the right times, and just a bunch of little things. And this year with COVID and everything else, like, if we can make one thing easier that's so important, I feel like that's a hugely awesome cause. So it's just a super concise. I've used it multiple times myself, just like, wait a minute, when can I go early vote or whatever? But yeah, I'm very happy to be partnered with them, and it's been cool to get to know Andy, the director of it, because we text each other now. I'll ask him questions like, is this legal? How do you do this?
Well, and those are the questions that people really don't know. I mean, like, we have, in different areas where you live, you can kind of find those things, but it's difficult to find. So if there is one site, it makes it a whole lot easier for someone, especially if you're a new voter. I mean, I think the thing that baffled me was, 100 million people didn't vote in the 2016 election, which means they weren't using their voice. And those are people that need to sign up for this year's election.
Totally. Totally. We all need to be represented, and I think that that's something everybody can get behind. So if we just all get together and make our voices heard, then we have the best shot at being represented as a whole.
Yeah. And I mean, we did talk about how your inspiration for Use My Voice, and it's kind of turned into this rallying cry. I mean, one of the biggest moments for me in the video was in the first 5 seconds when it's you and then you see the White House. I mean, how did you decide on that? First of all, it's powerful because I was like, oh, I'm about to sit down and watch something right now. I was loving it. But how did that thought come about?
You know what? We started, Eric Howell, the director, he's a film director actually, and we worked together when I wrote like the end title song for a film he did with Emilia Clarke called Voice from the Stone a few years ago, and then he directed my music video, and it was just like a great experience. So we had been talking about this song honestly for over a year, a little bit, and then it turned into please direct the video. He's just an artist friend of mine. I like to talk to different artists and kind of get feedback, and we just sort of help each other out. And he loved the initial song. When it wasn't even done, I showed it to him. And then we were talking about the video back in like January, February, because we thought that this was going to be the first single that we'd be releasing in March.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic hit and everything changed, and the moment, the mood, the meaning of what we were going to do had to either wait or change.
Yeah.
So we just went a different direction. We had Wasted on You ready to go, which ended up being just perfectly right in the moment with all those feelings we were then instantly feeling. So it worked out, but like we kept changing the video treatment. Like we had a whole other video idea that had a lot to do with like me. This is hilarious if you think about it now. Like pushing, like going upstream in a crammed-in crowd, like all pushing one direction, and I'm squeezing through going the other direction. Like totally impossible things to do now that we have to social distance.
Oh, I didn't even think about that at first. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I'm like, oh yeah, COVID.
Yeah.
I completely
there was
forgot.
all these different, and like different travel that could have occurred that we had to just keep kind of changing parts. But we never wanted it to be like, oh, we can't do this, we'll just have performance here. It kept being like we were inspired by what was happening around us.
Yeah.
So that moment where you see the White House, I mean, for me, it's standing up and looking out at a world that feels broken and feels like something's coming, like a revolution, like the people's voices just stepping out and looking out at the world and going, okay, like it's time for me to open my eyes and do whatever I can. Like, so making the choice in that moment was a little bit of a, oh, are we going to do this kind of thought, for sure. But it felt so good to do. And then what actually turned out to be very crazy to me was it came out, I'm trying to remember like what day the video came out, but then the very next day there was literally fireworks on the White House lawn. And I was looking at it going like, there is no way that I could have planned that would actually happen.
You're like, we just continued on to the White House, actually, with all of our glow sticks in the air. We were ready for it.
Yeah, right.
One thing I really like, too, is for head count, for people that do register to vote through the website, you're going to do a live stream concert in October. Am I correct?
Yeah, I keep calling it a performance to help myself not feel so much pressure, because this is another one of those things where I'm kind of in charge of the technology here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, trust me, I'm real good at it, too.
We are, though. Yeah, we're creating like a live, but like, through Zoom, like we're going to all, do our parts separately and put it together. You've seen a bunch of those by now.
Yeah.
People are just finding creative ways to replicate something like a live experience through the internet, and we're going to just put together some songs and do something we haven't done before. So we're excited about that. And I don't have a date, but it will be in October.
All right. Just to let people know, though, yeah. So if you register through Headcount, you can go ahead and find this opportunity for the live stream, I guess, extravaganza, we'll call it that you'll be doing with them. So that's pretty
actually,
cool.
If you are already registered, that's fine. You can just go check your registration. Once you click that button, you get the access.
Awesome. And then, and I was really appreciative too, obviously, as I was doing my homework for our talk today, I was reading actually Chanel Miller's victim impact statement, and then her response to it going so viral afterwards. And something that I learned that maybe our listeners out there might want to know is that Vice President Joe Biden actually wrote her after he wrote that, or he read the victim. I didn't know that. And just reading her words and how she just said, I see you, or he told her, I see you, and put her up there. I mean, that personally for me was just a very impactful thing to learn, and something that I think I will be taking with me into the elections in November. Yeah. So thank you for that.
I thought that was cool too. Thanks.
Yeah. Well,
thank you, Chanel.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing to know, and a great thing to continue doing your homework, like you said. So.
Killer.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you, Amy. I really, really appreciate it. You've been wonderful today.
Thank you. You too. Thanks for having me, and rock on.
All right. Awesome. All right. I'll talk to you later. Thanks, Amy.
Okay.
Bye.